Ruby D quotes. I never thought of myself as a activist or a joint or anything like that. I was accepting of all different types of people, no matter what their background. You could be a Democrat, you could be a Republican, you could be a communist. Just don't be a racist. But I was open to it all. She was a very reflective actress, and she was one half married to Ozzie Davis, an incredible husband wife duo, and a lot of history and so on. Um, what I gather from everything that she said, basically, it's like I accept you. I don't trip on your politics. Well, that's kind of how I look at stuff. I mean, I don't like, the Trumpicans, but I don't trip on people's political beliefs. And as long as they're not trying to use some kind of, agenda to say this and that. But it doesn't really move me because I don't think either party is necessarily effective. It's the people. But when people need to have slogans and logans behind them, then they tend to get into this that they feel like they got to attach themselves to something or belong to something. You tend to do that to almost hide in the shell, but what are you identifying as? What is your real calling? So it's one of those things that's cool for some folks. It's not my bag, but that's what some folks like to do. That's how they get that's how it gets them through the day, I guess. I don't know. I don't really pay it a lot of mind. My mindset is pretty simple. If you're cool, you're cool, and if you're not, you're not. I'm not gonna really get into the whole political jargon because it's much ado about nothing really. It's one of those kind of situations where, um, you take it as you take it. You don't really, you know, it's it's kind of like how it is. Um, she was very earnest in how she felt. And again, what you see on the screen and what people are like in real life is two different entities. But usually, time you get some kind of vibe and tone. But but she was very forthright. She's like, I'm not gonna sit here and judge you because you just to go with a particular party. However, as long as you ain't no racist, we cool. And that's pretty much how I look at stuff because I need to know how you identify yourself and what you say because your actions gonna say, you know, people tend to have a little bit of a plate of this and a little bit plate of that. However, what they are ultimately is gonna come out in the wash. And they're gonna come out and say what you hope they do. You don't want them to be role playing with you and trying to tell you stuff that's not what they're not really authentic. So I got what she was saying about that because at the end of the day, life experiences, things you go through, you could have a friend that could be of this political agenda or that agenda. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person. The only thing I come across is when people are so steadfast, like they're doing people some kind of favor when they're really not. Because it's just like trying to initiate yourself into a game where you get involved in it, but you got to understand the whole totalities and how it hits. And you might not be ready for it. So that's the only thing I say about that. But, Ruby D was definitely a strong actress, strong personality, and I definitely somebody that I have much respect for. And this was it's a good quote because it's one of those quotes that it's like, yeah, you can do this, you can do that, just don't be that because we don't really vibe on that, and that can definitely be problematic. So I think that is something that I would definitely co-sign with all the way on that. So yeah, Ruby D was definitely on the ball with that one. But anyway, please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Till next time we catch you on my one time piece.